Howdy. All right. Normally, Paul handles the music. Let's see if we can do this. Here it is. Yes, we did it. Cool. Welcome to your Attack Surface Reduction Friday, where you too can reduce your attack surface simply. I had a meme, but I totally forgot to throw it into a slide because I don't really have any slides today. But yeah, hopefully watching this live or rewatching it later. Let's move this banner thing at the bottom. See, there's so many buttons. But yeah, mostly going to just demo the little ASR generator I made. I think it's interesting, mainly because ASR, if you don't have like Intune or like fancy products to manage it through like Defender and whatnot, it can be, something daunting, I guess. Trying to remember all these little GUIDs or copying and pasting from the ASR website or the from the Microsoft Docs, and it gets messy. And so that's why I made this little tool, mainly for research. I got interested in ASR. I know you can enable it through via PowerShell. So I was just kind of like, yo, I'm gonna just make something quick and easy. Of course, with Streamlit, if you know me, I kind of like Streamlit. And so and I was like, just gonna build this real quick and publish it, make it free. Folks can use it and play with it. And mostly just a way for me to quickly go and like copy paste whatever I need real fast and not have to deal with reading the docs and copying and all that weird stuff. I just want to like get this done. So yeah, just going to walk through the app. And then we'll do some atomic testing, because the whole idea of dropping it on our Atomics on a Friday channel here was to obviously do some testing. And you're not here to listen to me talk all day. Maybe you are. If you're here to listen to me talk, awesome. Great. Cool. Well, hey, anyway, so while we're here, this is all free. It's on GitHub. You can go to the app, which is just asrgen.streamlit.app. Drop that into the chat here. And you could hit it. This is hosted by Streamlit, or you can just click on the little GitHub logo if you want to go and like download it, play with it locally. That's really cool. It's completely private. There's no collection of information or data that you submit to it, either locally or via the Streamlit app site. So completely safe and secure. So anyway, very quickly, the first thing I really wanted to do with this was, again, have like a way where I could find the attack surface reduction rule and like click one, and I don't have to like think about this. All I want to do is just enable one of them, whether it's in block, audit, or warn, and the color changes. That was a NAS feature. And so you can click on audit and everything like that. If you also just want to go through and disable, you can also click disable, but nobody wants to reduce their attack surface that much. I also added the exclusions. So this one, for vulnerable drivers, you can just say like, hey, I want to allow any sys file out of my temp directory, which I'm sure is normal, at least for auditing. And the cool thing with this is you can stack them. It'll stack the GUIDs for you at the end. So you're like, hey, I want to audit this one as well. And while we're at it, I want to block this. I don't even know what this is, so we're going to throw in an audit. Also, kind of like the quick TLDR, all the information you want to know or have questions about. Instead of having to read the Microsoft Docs, I put everything inside the tab on the left called ASR Essentials. It includes a very large table of contents. We'll check it out in a sec. But when you flip between these modes, block mode does exactly what it says. It will block, say, a macro running that spawns something, or child proc from Office products. If you put in an audit, it doesn't do much. It just literally audits. That's probably your air quote safest bet for ASR if you're like actually like deploying it across an organization. My purpose was just for research and testing and generating the events. And then warn allows you to prompt the user. It basically blocks it, but it prompts you and it'll say, do you want to unblock this? Otherwise, I blocked it. So we'll throw that in audit. So yeah, we got a couple here in audit. Let's go ahead and do an obfuscated script. We're going to block it. And then let's go ahead and, oh, this is for demo. So not like we're going to run this. Maybe I'll run it. All right. So we got a couple exclusions. We got one exclusion, and then we got a bunch of audits and block. So you hit generate, and then it pops out your one-liners. So the first one, this is the enabled, which means block. I wish they just called it block because the other ones are audit mode. And so yeah, these ones will go in audit mode. And this is where it gets tricky, right? Because you're like, wait, which one was this? Which one was that? So that's why having this nice little GUI will make it a little bit more friendlier to deal with. So yeah, these guys go in audit. This goes in enable, block, and then you also have your exclusion. So, all right. So yeah, there's that. I put some links, a couple captions, things like that. I found that when I was geeking out on the set MP preference here, there is a couple undocumented functions or parameters that you can pass. So if you want to just do per rule exclusions, so what you could do is set MP preference. And this right here, you would just tack in, you put the ID, which again, kind of got to make sure which one you're using. And then they have this new one here, this parameter, attack surface reduction, only exclusions per rule. So you can actually specify it per rule, which is really neat if you want to do that. So just something to kind of play with. And if you read the docs, all of this stuff, per rule, exclusion, all that kind of stuff is built into all like the more enterprise defender type stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's the very simple version. Or if you're like me and you're just like, hey, I just want to enable everything, whether it's in block mode, audit or warn, throw this in audit, you can just copy this right out. There's a copy button on the right. You can copy that, drop that into your command prompt, and it'll put everything into audit or enabled for block, things like that. So makes it easy, just kind of simple, quick one run there. All right, so documentation, you can read the Microsoft Docs site, which is kind of like telling people to draw an owl. There's just a lot of data, and I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of information in one little place, so it gets a little much and overwhelming. So for me, being that I'm just like, I want to generate events, I need data. My view of the essentials is just, hey, these are things that I would need if I were just wanting to get going with ASR and play with and learn. So I broke it out simply enough to just, here's how to enable, disable, warn, and things like that. Audit mode. Here's the enable all. You can list out the rules. I give you commands that I run because, again, I just want to see very quickly how things look and work versus like, trying to figure things out one by one. I'm going to open up a new little tab here. It's going to run that command. Yep. So this should list out all the rules and give you the action. And so like in this case, again, if you don't know your GUIDs, you're kind of guessing about what's actually enabled here. But we do get the action. 6 is warn, or I think it's warn. I break that out for you as well because nobody wants to guess what these mean. So 0 means disabled. So if you actually went in and disabled it, it'll show 0. 1 will be blocked, 2 audit, 6 warn. Break down the explanations of what these mean. Kind of did that too. And then the common event codes. And so again, researching into ASR, what do I need to know for ASR as far as event IDs go? here's all the ones. There are other ones. If you are this is just kind of like a standalone Windows box here. But if you go to, what's that thing called? I'm not an expert on Windows. Don't mind all the threats. There's a lot of threats in this environment. I'm trying to figure out, it's like some kind of folder thing that there's some event logs in here. Oh, I forget. Anyway, constrain file access or folder access or something. But yeah, there's a couple of event IDs that pop up that have very similar like actions that have been performed. And so in our demo, I'll show you in Splunk how all this looks. Yeah. Oh, there's also a one-liner I tossed in here. So if you're like me, again, you don't want to leave to go into Splunk or your SIM, you can just paste this in. It will output a CSV, and the CSV is really cool because you can like just go straight to show you a different one. Just pop this open, and you'll get all the events, including the IDs and then also the messages. So if you want to see what's in here, you'll quickly the nice thing about the event IDs and whatnot, if you're logging it somewhere, is you can see the old value, which this was nothing, and then these are the updates changing it to this is an exclusion here, so it's adding that as an exclusion, which is kind of neat. You can like dig through these and see like what was changed, what was enabled, or what was blocked, everything like that. So this was a block from Word. I think it was block. But yeah, so jumping ahead. And then it goes on, talks about the registry stuff, the different keys, goes into reviewing the ASR data inside of PowerShell using get when event, how to use exclusions. I think this is probably the trickiest part because again, you can do what I'm going to call global exclusions, which you can just say ignore every ctemp sys file, or what I found was this kind of like hidden one, which is the rule specific for an actual ID, so per rule exclusions. So it gets kind of intense. I'm debating on, let me just take a sip. I'm debating on creating a separate page just for exclusions. You could paste in your full set of GUIDs and whatnot, whether you want an audit mode, and then you can go through like an exclusion checklist, like, oh, I want to do per rule. This is what I want to exclude for these ones, and make it very visual because it could be a lot, but I'm not really into excluding things and more just like ship it and smash and grab. Yeah, you can review your exclusions this way. I don't know why I'm copying it. You can just hit the button. So if you go here, paste it, and you'll get your exclusion. And I excluded that because it was like trying to access my LSAS. And I was like, why are you touching LSAS? So I approved it because that's what you do. You exclude it so that it can always touch LSAS. And it goes into wildcards and how to do all this stuff. So there's a bunch of things. And then all the documentation and references to ASR. Other folks have done a lot of research into ASR over the years. Carlos Perez, InfoSec Ninja, and I think it was one right here. This one, Thalpius, this blog as well. So I put all that down there. You want to dig through them. That's where everything comes from. Not everything, but as far as some of the testing, that's where some of the testing comes from. And then obviously the docs. So let's see. Then for me, I want to be able to test these things. How do I know, this particular ASR rule is actually working? And so what I did is I took the documentation here from the Microsoft reference site. I link it as well, so you can go straight to it. Look at that, fancy click. Tells you same stuff that I told you, but we take it one step further. We are also adding in the macro VBA code, VBS code. So you can copy this and go right into your malicious Word doc, paste it, and see if it works. So I do have this in warn mode, as I mentioned. So we're on like number 6. I've been warned that I can unblock it or hit OK and just have it logged, right? Well, while we're here, let's just see how calc operates. Doesn't like calc. And then let's try our other friend, Notepad. Well, how do you do? And so from a telemetry trace perspective, this would be WinWord spawning Notepad. Probably common enough to where Microsoft got in trouble for blocking like every child process. That's the other weird part about ASR, and there's no like real detailed documentation as far as like what is allowed or what is going to be blocked. There was a cool blog, I'll have to find it, where he actually reverses the whole thing and then published, you know, what actually will be prevented, what file extension types and things like that. So it's out there. The data's there. So yeah, it doesn't like me to spawn PowerShell. So again, these are all the same thing. They're just spawning something off of Word as we wanted to test. Office apps creating child procs. And I have a couple in here. I don't have all of them filled out yet. There's still lots to be done. Oh yeah, this one's pretty cool. This one will write a script.vbs file to disk, which is kind of neat. So paste it. What did I do? Okay. Yeah. So it tries to write this script to disk, which would spawn calc. But we got warned. Let's move back. Okay. So you can play with these. I put a download button. So if you actually just want to like download it, and then you can have like Edge warn you sometimes about downloading things. So yeah, got those in there. Because drivers, I wrote a couple in here for drivers. You can copy that or download that. Tells me there's a virus. And then there's also a PowerShell one, which will download straight from Lowell drivers. I don't know why I'm highlighting it. It'll download the Capcom driver from Lowell drivers here, and then it will attempt to start it. And this is another ASR rule we have set to warn. That is not the place we want to go to. Clear this out. Yeah, spell it right. There you go. So downloaded, denied, and it's like, no, you have virus or potentially unwanted software. That's probably what it is, most likely. All right. Do you like how I was typing and it typed CD desk here at the top? I thought that was great. Good job. Yes. Okay. We get it. It's dinging in my ear. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it. It's really loud. And then there's others. So these ones I don't have tests for yet. So as I am researching these things, I will add them, as many as I can. There's obviously a lot of these we have inside of Atomic Red Team, which brings to kind of like the next terminal-based demo. You find one. There's one in here. Oh, I also added a search. So if you're just like, I have no idea what I'm looking for, you can just type ps-exec, and this is exactly what I was looking for. You can copy these or download them, whatever you want to do, and kick these off. So yeah, that is that. Switch to a little bit of the data side, and then I'll do atomic demos. So I wrote this in Splunk. It just takes those event IDs that I have in the essentials, and then I map the GUIDs to the name, because again, who knows these things off the top of their head? Not me, someone I'm sure. But you can see easily, you know, Word spawning or attempting to write that VBS, and it tells you what it was doing, blocking it. This is that WA app agent touching LSAS. And then here's ps-exec, which I'll demo here in a second. And then the data does look really good, obviously in Splunk. If you've never looked at the Defender logs in like a SIM or locally or whatnot, like it's pretty verbose. Being that I have it like restricted here, there's obviously a ton more event IDs that we could go into and talk and see and play with. So yeah, pretty cool. All right, so let's test out the ps-exec. We had an atomic test. This is under T1021002. You're following along at home. Hopefully you're on the office work desktop installing Invoke Atomic. Don't know what happened here. Oh yeah, crashed Mimikatz. Okay. So we'll do invoke. Oh yeah, I already ran it. So I don't know why this one is busted the second try, but we'll give it a go. So you could do show details brief. This will list out all of our atomics for that YAML. Here it is if you do, it's a lot more verbose for just show details. And this is test number 3. So you can do test number 3, and that's our PS exec. So we'll just back this, remove the brief. And we got our verbose brief of that. Bring this up a little bit. Or in the GUI, we have this here. It just kind of shows you what you can do with it. You can change, what file to copy and execute, where to run it, things like that. These are the commands. And then go back here. I already ran it, and for some reason it won't run a second or third time, but for funsies, we'll run it again. Yeah, it just fails. So what I did is I copied PS exec. Yeah. And I just run that. And so PS exec localhost command, and it just says like access denied. Do you want to unblock it? And it's like, are you sure? Let's see if it works. Oh, it worked. Okay. You have to unblock it. That's cool. Yeah. And then if you know Windows does not like, or Defender does not like Mimikatz. So if you run this next test, you'll find out really quickly that it does not want you to run it. So let's do show details. This is T1003-001, test number 6, which will do the whole mini dump. And back it out, boom. And it's like, yeah, denied. There's a threat. There's so much evil everywhere. I don't know if there's like it'll download it or not, but yeah, I didn't like it. One more time. Okay, so there's that. So Mimikatz, we have PS exec. As I mentioned, as I go through the different ASR tests in there, I'll add them to the project here. So you can just do one-liner PS execs and things like that. Make it easy for generating those data. Hang on, I had a list. What else? Okay, we talked about the app. We did all that. The only thing that we haven't done is check out this little tool. Go here real quick. Well, that's not Google, but we'll take it. Atomic red team. I guess we could have just went to the repo here. Okay. If you go to the wiki, there is a legacy links. Long time ago, we had a portion in the repo called initial access. And I wrote this tool apparently 3 years ago called generate macro. And it's based off of Matt Nelson's script that he wrote. And I added and updated it for more ASR based testing. So it's there. This will generate a bunch of Excel files and just perform different ASR macro testing and execution. So here's all the macros right here. And so they will attempt to download a like a PS1 file and run it. Most of them are benign. I think they're all pretty benign. But when I was generating them, they were getting flagged pretty quickly by Defender. I'll do a quick demo of the tool here. It's my CD desk. So you just run genmac and give it a name. So macro testing live. And you just pick one. Let me pick one that it didn't fire on. So do number 8. And yeah, if you were wondering why I had exclusions, I know you're looking. I had to create exclusions because it was like tripping out over macro doc sitting on disk. Yeah, desktop in the Macs folder. So yeah, generated it, got our new one. It's okay right now. So if you were to run it, this guy, you got to enable it. Blocked it. Cool. Get out of here. And then go to the Macs folder. And so I went through and I generated all of them. So what we're going to do for the next 5 minutes is click through each one of these and go and see what happens next. Just kidding. I'm not going to make you sit through them unless you really want to. We can do this. There's that one. That's run DLL 32. And then, all right, that one. Enable the macro. Uh-oh. I don't know what happened on that one. Okay, so that's that. If we flip back to Splunk real quick, let's do the last 15 minutes, see if this showed up. There they are. I don't remember how many. Yeah. 3 times. 3 times, and the run DLL 32. All of these things in here are PS exec. It's still blocking things. Thank you. I feel so safe and protected. But yeah, that's that. Pretty easy to use. If you're like, hey, Mike, why didn't you actually show us you doing this? So let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and throw them in block. Let's click. Yeah, we have Adobe. Okay. When you enable them in block, it will just literally like burn it down for you. Blocks it. It just alerts you that you blocked it, and there's not much else you can do. Hit enter, and then I have over here just a kind of, you can see here, it's still in warn. I was running into this yesterday where even when you modify, it will keep it in warn mode until, I think I had to do a reboot, GP update, maybe some other things to finally get it to like kick back in. When we do this, refresh, clear that out, enable, go for block, copy, let's try it. Yep. Okay. I don't know the difference, but it apparently likes that one better. So little things like that I'll fix as I go through. Or if you see any issues, open up an issue or DM me, let me know, and I can fix it pretty quick. But yeah, those are all enabled in block mode. You're like, oh, Mike, show us live one more. There you go. Yes, I need my macro. Denied. So also here, if you go into here, look at your threats, you'll see minus that. Where's our protection history? You'll see the warns are in here telling you, don't know what that is. Yeah, well, it's something else too. Risky action block, that's where it is. So yeah, they come up in here, and then these are also, I think these are the ASR rules, and so you can go look back in Splunk at those if you wanted to look at all of them, which is actually kind of cool. So if you back this out, while we're here, why don't we just look at some more? Yeah, so we have all the event codes in here. It's quite a bit. The 5007s, I can't remember what those are. I always forget. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This kind of telling you we changed from like a 6 to warn to block, which is actually really nice because you can track that. Like if you're doing it at like a large org, you could track how many are moving around, or if somebody's, pushing one down, or somebody trying to evade or whatnot. Yeah. So anyway, you get all this cool data and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. And then what else? Yeah, that's really it. Run into any bugs or issues or things like that, just let me know. I will happily fix them. Trying to think if there's anything else cool that I could tell you about it, but that was really it. It's pretty easy. So that will conclude our first attack surface reduction Friday. Hit me up if you need anything or have any questions about it, or if you're using it, bugs, issues, or anything. I'm really curious how folks will use it out there. All right. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Talk to you later.